to my channel. My name is Ashlyn and today I am so excited because today is the very first video of my Walt Disney World planning series. Yay! So I'm really excited to start doing this series for you guys. I'm about 6 months out from my trip, so today is going to be kind of like an initial video for those that want to start planning a Disney World trip. So I know some of us, depending on when you're going, may already be really deep into planning, and some of us may haven't even started yet. So this is for some of you that either haven't started or have started and may just want to kind of look back at what we've done just to see, like, okay, is this really what I want to do? Am I double checking things? Because there are a couple things that Walt Disney World makes you do that kind of lock in your vacation plans 6 months to 2 months in advance to your trip. So there's a couple things that I'll detail in this whole video, but let's get started. All right, so you've already done the easy part. You've said yes to going to Walt Disney World. Yay, that's awesome. Everyone's cheering. We're all starting our countdowns. It's fantastic. However, planning a Walt Disney World trip can be a little tedious, as I'm finding out. So the very first thing to take into consideration is who is going with you on your trip. Now, my parents are going with me, so I'm actually going to tailor this more to my trip. I'm going to throw in a couple different things, but since I don't have children, I can't quite tell you how to plan that right now. I'm going to be turning 21, so I'm going to my 21st birthday in Walt Disney World. That's why I'm going. So that's another thing to pick. Is there a special anniversary trip you want to take, a birthday trip, some sort of celebratory trip that's going to fall around a certain time, and you kind of have to take that into account. Now, I'm probably going at one of the worst times you can go in Disney, which is in the middle of July, because it's hot, it's the summer, so kids are out, and it's just an all-around, like, busy, hot, sweaty time at Walt Disney World. Now, we don't necessarily mind, because our travel style is kind of like, you know, we're just gonna relax, we're gonna roll with the punches. So our family's not that big into, like, we have to go at this time because no one's gonna be here and blah, blah. We know there's gonna be crowds because it's Walt Disney World, so you just kind of take into account who you're going with. Now, if you're traveling with small children, I definitely recommend going either during the school year, which is going to have to require you to take them out of school, which I'm sure they won't mind, but I'm sure if it's just for a couple days, you can definitely finagle something with the teacher. So I would definitely recommend not going in summer if you have kids, just because it's going to be so packed. If your kids are fine with it, that's good too, but a lot of times people like to go on the off days in like February or the start of April and different things where it's not as packed and it's a little bit cooler too. Now, Florida has temperamental weather, as I've heard. Like I said, none of this stuff I've actually experienced yet. This is just me reading off of research and other people that have gone and other friends that have gone. But like I said, depending on the group you're going, that's when you should decide to go. Another thing to take into consideration is how long you're going to go. I'm going to be going for a week because that's pretty much as much time as I can take off of work. So that's also another thing to take into account. Vacation days, all the time you have for free time that you're able to actually spend with your families for an extended amount of time when you're working and going to school full time. So that's something that I would definitely recommend just thinking through before you plan the dates, just because now we have to decide, okay, how long am I going to be here? Certain travel times and days cost more than others. We're going Saturday to Saturday, which is generally a more expensive price, but that's, like I said, the only time that my limitations gave me, so that's why we're going then. So that's kind of a brief overview of how to pick what time to go. Just take into consideration who's in your group and what's their time schedules. Are they in school? Are they at work? Vacation days, summer breaks, just holiday breaks in general. Those two things are really important when deciding when to go. Okay, so you know what time you're going, you have your dates, you have your time limit. Now it's time to think about the hotel. Okay, and actually this is somewhat of a factor in when you're going, because these hotels may get booked, and the Walt Disney World hotels get booked all the time. If you look on their website, it says how many times it's been booked or looked at in like the last day, and they're always in like the 90s to 100s, because I mean, Walt Disney World is just packed. But I'm going to give you a little breakdown about how Walt Disney World runs their hotels and how they categorize their hotels to make it the perfect trip for you. So at the Walt Disney Resort, there are 5 different categories of hotels that they offer to their guests. Now, this video is specifically going to talk about on-site hotels. I'm going to go over little pros and cons about the locations, but for right now, this is just going to be on-site hotels. The 5 categories are campgrounds, value resorts, moderate resorts, deluxe resorts, and deluxe villas. So a lot of these, there's like, oh my gosh, there's so many options. So they obviously range in price. That's why they go from campgrounds all the way to deluxe. So campgrounds are very cheap. They're only at the Camp Wilderness or the Fort Wilderness resorts there, and they're basically like legit campgrounds at Walt Disney World, which is kind of cool if your family's into camping. I personally am not, but if you go down the line, they're gonna range from cheaper to more expensive. Now, the good thing about Disney World hotels in general is you get a free magic band. So those that stay off-site or that just like are planning a trip that haven't stayed at the Walt Disney World resorts cannot get a free magic band unless you are an annual pass holder. Now these magic bands are available on the Disney website. They cost anywhere from like $20 to $30 and up because they're customizable. They have different skins and bands. But the cool thing about being on a resort is that you get a free magic band. So it actually comes with your tickets, with your reservations, which is a really big plus. Just because if you have a lot of people in your party, that's also another like $100 out the window. So just trying to save you as much money as you can. However, you know, you're going to make up for it with the cost that you pay for the hotels. So the value resorts are places like Pop Centuries or their all-star resorts. These are really great themed resorts. That's another reason why Walt Disney World hotels are awesome, is because if you're especially going with families or kids, value resorts are a great place to stay because they are so immersive in the Disney theme. Like the Pop Century resorts are all like different decades, and then there's like the all-star movie resorts would have like huge like life-size, not even life-size, they're like more larger than life size things of like the 101 Dalmatians and Toy Story and Buzz Lightyear, and they're just like outside your hotel room, which is pretty awesome. However, the rooms are not the best. They're pretty small, depending on what your travel luxury style and all that stuff is. You may not want to stay somewhere as cheap as the value resorts. However, because if you're going for a super long time and you're staying with a big group, that's a perfect way to save more money but still stay on a Walt Disney World resort. The moderate resorts start to get a little nicer. These are usually like the Port Orleans Riverside and the French Quarter hotels. These are very intimate hotels that are beautiful. I've seen the pictures, they were beautiful. And actually I was going to stay at Port Orleans Riverside before I made a change, which if you haven't seen my like announcement about this series, I talked a little more about it, but you'll just hear me talk about it in this video more. So the Port Orleans hotels are awesome, it looks like, because they have like live jazz bands. You can get beignets there, which is amazing because who doesn't love beignets? But these hotels are definitely on the more expensive side. The rooms are much nicer, but they're still in that good price range where it's not like breaking the bank, but at the same time you still get some really nice theming and a really nice immersive experience. They're actually in the Riverside hotels. There are royal rooms, which is basically like a princess room. So Princess Tiana writes you a letter and it comes when you first check in, and then you walk into the room and there's all of these princesses on the walls, and the headboards light up and they look like the swamps from Princess and the Frog, and it's just, it looks beautiful. It really, really does. And that was the room that I was going to stay in before I made my change. Then we move on to deluxe hotels, which is actually one of the ones that I'm staying in. The deluxe hotels, there's a lot of them because they're the most expensive, but they're also the nicest hotels you can stay in at the Walt Disney World resorts. And there's 3 that actually run with a big perk that you can get from staying at deluxe hotels, which is the monorail system, the resort monorail system. The 3 that run through this monorail system are the Polynesian Resort, the Contemporary Resort, and the Grand Floridian. I decided to stay at the Contemporary Resort, which I'm so excited for because I was like dying to stay there, and my dad thought, you know, I don't think the moderate resorts are going to be the best for the way that we travel, so I want to stay at a Contemporary Resort. When I'm like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So yes, we were staying at the Contemporary Resort, which has the perks of being part of the monorail system. Now, this monorail system, it's a little finicky because depending on when you have like dining reservations in the morning, they run 30 minutes before the first park opening. So depending on if you have extra magic hours, which is another perk of staying at the hotels, they'll run at certain times, but just be wary of when you plan everything else. And of course, this is all going to thread into other videos I'll be making in the future. So as far as the resorts go, like the deluxe resorts, and I'm going to talk about more about those just because that's what I'm staying in, so I've researched a lot more about those hotels. In deluxe hotels, you do, like I said, just like all the resorts, get the magic band. The other resorts get extra magic hours as well, and extra magic hours are basically a couple hours in either the morning or nighttime that one specific park is open for a limited amount of time. So like when you go, maybe say Epcot has PM magic hours or night magic hours. That usually means that the park stays open from 9 to 11, so it stays open 2 more hours. Usually nighttime is how they range the longer time, so usually nighttime is the 2-hour magic hours. In the morning it's usually about an hour, so the earliest a park can open is about 8 o'clock. And so you check the calendar depending on what days you want to go to what parks. There's all those extra magic hours, but I digress because that's another video. So as far as the resort goes, yes, you do get the monorail system, you get the magic hours, you get the magic band. Now, the Contemporary Resort is one of those that takes you away from the Disney theming. Because it's a Contemporary Resort, it's fairly modern in its decor, which is another reason why we actually wanted to stay there. The deluxe hotels don't have too much Disney like the Pop Century resorts or the All-Star resorts will have. So the more deluxe you go, the more like fine dining is there, the more, you know, nice modern decor is there. So it doesn't feel like you're getting hit over the head with Disney if your party doesn't like that. So that's another thing to take into consideration. And of course, the last thing about the resorts is just location. So if you stay off-site, definitely you have to rent a car. You have to worry about how to get there in the mornings, you know, beat the crowds, park in a good spot. The good thing about Disneyland, I keep saying Disneyland, Disney World hotels is, depending on what you pick, there's definitely convenience with the transportation. So of course, with the resort monorail, you can actually get to the Magic Kingdom very, very easily. They also have a TTC, which is a transportation and ticketing center, as part of the monorail stops, which can take you to Epcot as well. So Epcot and the Magic Kingdom are very easily accessible from the deluxe resorts by monorail. Now, every hotel has buses, just like, you know, regular, and even some hotels have water transportation also to Disney Springs, which is their like downtown Disney. So also, you know, just kind of plan when you want to go to Disney Springs, because depending on if you have to take a bus or a boat, those things take longer. However, those are the three types of transportations you can have at the Walt Disney World resorts: by bus, by monorail, and by boat, which I think is pretty awesome, because I would love to go on a boat ride somewhere just because I think that sounds freaking cool. So there's one last thing I want to talk about in this Walt Disney World first video of planning is your airline tickets. So depending on how you're going to get there, we live in California, so it's quite a flight for us. It's about a 5-hour flight. Decide if you want to take stops, if you want to get there directly. There's all these different airlines depending on what airport you go out of that will fly you there with one stop or fly you there non-stop, or even 2 or 3 stops. You can be there and you can have a travel day for quite a while that can last for a long time, which definitely has some disadvantages. I highly recommend trying to get a direct flight just because of luggage. If you lose your luggage, it kind of ruins the trip, at least for the first couple days. If that happens, I would recommend packing a couple outfits in your carry-on just in case your luggage gets lost. Now, say you buy a direct flight and this happens, like I said, you still have the backups from your carry-on. However, I just like direct flights because it gets you there the fastest. Now, once you get there, this is also another thing to talk about: a travel day. When you have the airline, when you have your flights, when you get on your flight, and when you go to Disney, what are you doing that day? Do you want to get an early flight so you can get in early and then have like a whole day at the parks? Do you want to get in late, sleep in, and then be ready for the parks in the morning? My family is personally doing something where we're actually getting in around 2:30 in the afternoon, and we're having a day at Disney Springs because it's a little too much for us to like be exhausted. We have to get on the flight at like 5:30, so we're going to be so tired. But Disney Springs is a nice little way to like start our Disney vacation, but not necessarily have us hit home with like rides and like have to go like super hard for, you know, 10 hours right after we just got off a really long flight. So that's also another thing to talk about with your families or with your group, is what do you want to do the day you get there? Do you want to rest? Do you want to sleep? Do you want to go out to the parks? Do you want to go to Disney Springs and just kind of have a chill, relaxed day? That's all things that you can take into account when picking the time to go. And really, when it comes down to it, if you just want to get the flight, get the flight, because you just want to be in Florida for Disney World. So all those things can kind of be taken into account later, but that's the advice I have for this first initial planning video. So that is it for my Walt Disney World planning video part 1. So like I said, we covered some hotels, we covered the time we're going to go, and we covered your airlines. So next time we're going to talk about what parks to go to and how to start your dining reservations, which is going to be really awesome. So I really hope you guys like this video. Please, if you have any questions, comment below or tweet me or message me, whatever you want to do, because like I said, I am no Walt Disney World expert, so please don't take this as like I am the know-all be-all of Walt Disney World news. No, I am barely, you know, understanding what I'm doing myself, but this is really helping me think out my trip as well as hopefully yours. So we're learning together. So if you have any questions on anything, please feel free to ask me, and I would be more than happy to get that information for you, because I want this to be a magical experience for the both of us. So please, if you like this video, comment below, subscribe, like, share with all your friends. I'm 30 subscribers away from 400, which is super exciting. So thank you so much for all of you that have been clicking that button very recently. But yeah, so just stay updated with this. I'll probably post videos maybe like once a week. I know I post videos twice a week, but one of those might be a Walt Disney World planning series. The other might be just a fun little Disney video on some other topic. So just look out for those. Of course, follow my Twitter so you find out when I do all this stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys had a great time watching this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on Monday.